Welcome into an AFC Championship edition of Buffalo Bills Weekly, where we keep you in the know on everything happening at One Bills Drive. He's Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. In this week's episode, we'll tell you what fired us up about Buffalo's divisional round win and what the Bills need to do to advance to the Super Bowl. The Bills are AFC Championship bound for the first time since 2020. They'll face an opponent they know all too well, the Kansas City Chiefs. This will be the 9th time the two are playing against each other in 5 seasons. So far, the series is split 4-4, but Buffalo hasn't slain the dragon yet in the postseason. What a stage for the Bills to prove they have what it takes to take down KC.
Yeah, there are no secrets here. They know each other very well. You also have the mentor-mentee coaching relationship with Andy Reid and Sean McDermott. And on top of that, I think everybody around the country wanted this matchup.
Before we dive into Sunday's huge matchup, we've got to highlight what we loved most from Buffalo's divisional round win against the Ravens. Buffalo's defense was aggressive, 2 takeaways on Baltimore's first 3 possessions. The offense came out to a hot start with a double-digit lead heading into the second half. Chris, what was the most encouraging part about Buffalo's win against the Ravens?
Yeah, I think the most encouraging thing for me was they proved, the Bills did, that they can win a game without relying solely on Josh Allen. We all know that Josh, when needed, can put the cape on and carry this team to victories. But if you look back at that game, there really wasn't any stretch of that game where he had to take the game over to help them win the football game. And I think with the way the run game is working for Buffalo right now, going against 2 top 3 run defenses in the past 2 playoff games and having success to the tune of 357 yards on the ground, that bodes well for the team going into this game.
I love how Buffalo's splash play mindset showed up on defense. They played with attitude and forced the Ravens into making mistakes. They did so by blitzing Lamar Jackson, having great eye discipline on Derrick Henry, and the rush and coverage to work together. It turned into 3 takeaways by Buffalo's defense against one of the best NFL offenses. You knew Buffalo had to steal a few possessions.
Yeah, and turned into 10 points off takeaways, and even the takeaway where they didn't get points, it still serves a purpose because at the end of that game, the Bills have the time of possession edge with almost 32 minutes time of possession. And even if you don't get points, the big thing there is when you have the ball, they can't score.
Against an offense like the Chiefs, the Bills might also have to have that same type of mindset, taking away the football to limit Patrick Mahomes. Don't go anywhere because coming up next, the locker room tells you what they think about this AFC Championship matchup and what Josh Allen needs to do to beat the Chiefs.
When we return, Maddy Glab interviews actor Eric Stonestreet in this week's episode of You Heard, and then later catch the press conference highlights in Soundbite Roundup.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Eric Stonestreet, and you just heard.
Welcome into this week's episode of You Heard, where we feature athletes, celebrities, and influencers telling us all about their NFL fandom. In this week's episode, we've got actor Eric Stonestreet joining us. Eric, thanks so much for being on. We know you're a huge fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills and the Chiefs are facing off once again in the AFC Championship game. It's the 9th time these two teams are playing each other in 5 seasons. Why are you looking forward to this matchup?
Why am I looking forward to it? Well, because I don't have to play in the game. I don't have to be out there and try to take Josh Allen down and stop the running game. Look, I mean, I'm a fan of sport. I admire so much what professional athletes do and what they're able to do, and I live vicariously as a fan through them. I still have dreams of playing football, like when I played, and wake up tired and bruised and. So I'm just a fan of the game, and the Bills are the toughest opponent we have right now. So it's great for football. It's great for being fans of both teams. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
These matchups, especially in the playoffs, I know they haven't gone Buffalo's way, but it's made for some must-see TV, like you said. 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL facing off, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. What are your expectations for these two on Sunday night?
Always the same. I mean, I love Josh Allen. Like I've said many times, if Patrick wasn't my quarterback, I would want Josh Allen, and I would imagine Bills fans probably feel the same. If they didn't have Josh, they'd want Patrick. But look, I admire the way both of them play the game. I'm expecting them to rise to the occasion. I was just watching the other night in the Bills Ravens game. And I said to my friend that was watching, I said, can you imagine being Patrick Mahomes sitting at home right now, just watching this game and knowing that like he has something to do and can control whoever wins? Like they don't care who wins. Like he wants to just play the next game and get on with it. But I'm nervous. You know, I had nerves about the Ravens. As a matchup, I would have rather probably played the Ravens. I would rather beat you guys because of that great rivalry now that we've cemented in, and just out of respect. But I just thought like, wow, it must be so cool to be able to make a difference and know that you're going to have something to do with the outcome of whoever you play, which, you know, I don't. I sit in the stands with my warm coat and scream as loud as I can.
It's fun to sit back and watch greatness happen between what Josh Allen has done in the last 7 seasons and what Patrick Mahomes has done as well. This Chiefs team is different this year compared to years in the past. They're 15-2. They locked up that number 1 seed in the AFC once again. But the high-flying offense has not been there this season, but yet they continue to win games. In your eyes, what's different about the group this year?
You know, you can make the case that Patrick, and I think Alex Smith said it really well the other day, is like, look, Patrick's done more this year with not less, because I don't want to lessen anyone's effort and participation on the team. They're all professional athletes, but you're right. We lost Rashee Rice early. We lost Pacheco early. We lost Hollywood Brown before we even had Hollywood Brown. By the way, played you guys when you beat us without any of those people, for the record. So, you know, we're going to have to play a perfect game, but hopefully so will you guys, which how can we ask for anything more from a fan's perspective? And from who's that walking by? Any players behind you they're walking that I can heckle or boo?
No players.
All right. Boo! Just random boos. It's not even the game yet. Stonestreet's booing us in our own facility.
Yeah,
Uncool.
come on, it's just Tuesday.
I forget what's your right tackle's name? Is it Spencer Brown or something?
Yes.
Yeah, I just tweeted the other day. Like, I don't think anyone has ever looked better and cooler in a uniform than Spencer Brown does. I'm like, how is his shirt always so perfectly tucked in? And then you look over at Dawkins and our offensive line, and they look like offensive linemen, and he looks like a felt model walking out there.
Yeah, he's a mountain man.
Yeah, he is. Your offensive line is great. I mean, I know you guys talk about it a lot, and I don't pay attention to the national media as much talking about you guys as we talk about us, but I would guess they're underrated. I would say that they're not talked about enough with how good they are. But yeah, big, strong right tackle there you got.
Yeah,
I was thinking like, you know, Frank Sinatra used to wear shirts that would button underneath his like crotch down underneath his undercarriage so that when he moved around, they stayed perfectly tucked in. And I'm like, does this guy have one of those shirt diaper things on? Like, how is his shirt always perfect?
How does he look that good every game?
Yes, when he's doing what he's doing, you know.
We'll be right back on You Heard. Stay tuned. You're known for playing Cameron Tucker in Modern Family. That show aired for 11 seasons and was a favorite for so many people. What was your favorite part of that show?
Well, my favorite part of it was having a job for 11 years, because I didn't have a consistent job for the first 13 years of my career. I worked, but I didn't have like a daily thing that I could get to. So right off the bat, my favorite part was like being on a roster, if you will, right? I was on a team, but I always told my football player friends, it's like, you know, the difference between me and you and job security is that they're not bringing in an actor to see if they can do my job better than me every year. So I had a little bit different of job security, but just the camaraderie. You know, I do have a mentality of sports. I like a locker room vibe, and, you know, I like to mess with people. And so just having a place to go every day and getting to know so many people over so long of a time and building those relationships and friendships was the most fun. Of course, you know, what comes along with the success in our business, you know, finding some financial security after 13 years of not knowing again where my paycheck was coming from. Meeting people that I've always wanted to meet, you know, going from nobody knowing who I was to all of a sudden people knowing who I was and all of a sudden being interested in talking to me. Those things are all fun and what I think people imagine of like being famous is. But overall, just a great experience.
What are some of your favorite episodes?
Very hard to choose. Lindsay and I sit around when we're going to bed at night and Modern Family will be on, and we play a little game where I watch the show and try to remember the episode, remember what I did in the show, because I never thought, we shot 250 whatever of them, and there was an episode on the other day that I have no memory of
Oh my gosh.
being there, and people are like, "How's that possible?" But it's possible. Trust me. And then I stopped watching the show maybe in the 9th season or 9th or 9th season, not because I was one of those actors who was like, oh, I don't watch my own work, which so many actors are like that. I stopped watching it because I wanted to leave myself a little time capsule for the future, which was being able to watch the show completely not remembering anything about it and have never seen it before. Fizbo is probably, I always give as my answer for my favorite episode. It's because I wanted to be a clown when I was a kid. I wanted to perform in the circus. And then for them to write an episode for me to be a clown, my clown character that my dad named me when I was a kid. And then I went on to, sound a little douchey here, but win my first Emmy for that specific episode. Hard to say that's not my favorite episode. The guy I get into it at the gas station with is my real life best friend, Stacy, who auditioned for the part. So that was really meaningful because he was going to stuff with me that year. And when they'd play a clip, he and I would be up there together and people would be like, hey, hey. So that was fun. The wedding stuff was great. I love an episode where I'm carrying a big giant pink teddy bear at a roller skating rink. That's a memorable episode. I loved falling. Anytime I could get to fall and do some sort of physical comedy, it was really fun. That's one of my favorite falls of the series with me and that pink teddy bear. If you go back and watch it, and then anytime I got to do something kind of fun and physical.
Thank you, Eric, so much for helping us preview this huge matchup between the Chiefs and the Bills on Sunday. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Again, all the best to everyone, no matter the outcome. I hope Bills fans, when they come to Kansas City, are treated well. I think we're a pretty good fan base. I know you guys have treated some of my friends well in Buffalo, so we have that in common. But look, at the end of the day, we all have to remember that the players are the ones out there giving it their all. And I always have to remind myself at some point, if this game doesn't go the way I want it to go, I can't be more sad and more disappointed than the guys who work their whole year off to be in this moment. So I guess my advice for fans to keep things in perspective and just appreciate what we got going on here, and may the best team win.
Definitely. We're going to have some great football to watch on Sunday. So Eric, thank you so much.
Yep, you got it. See you guys.
When we return, catch the highlights from this week's press conferences in Soundbite Roundup.
It's like a division game. I feel like we've played them just as much as we've played the guys in our division, and with that comes familiarity, new wrinkles here and there throughout the game. But they know who we are, we know who they are, and it literally just comes down to who executes well on Sunday. We can put all these plays in and expect one thing, and they can throw a wrinkle and do something completely different, and vice versa. So again, just trust your rules, trust the guys on the field, and just play football.
Be familiar with the team. You know what they're going to try to do. They know what we're going to try to do. Communication is limited because they've heard the calls 5-6 times now. We haven't changed those. So it's just going to be down to execution, technique, fundamentals, controlling line of scrimmage, and not turn the ball over.
I'm expecting them to come out with that different mentality, different mindset. I didn't play them in the regular season versus the playoffs, and it's a completely different team. The mindset is different. The way they go about their business is different, and you can feel it. So we have to bring our A game because we know they're going to bring theirs.
You can't be afraid of losing. You just got to go out there and play football. You practice all week. You practice the fundamentals. Now just go out there and do what you practice, and then the rest will fall in its place.
It's 4 teams left. Next game get you to the Super Bowl, but just not trying to put too much pressure on yourself. Just trying to go out there and have fun, honestly. You still being able to play this late in the year is a blessing. It's a great opportunity, so we're just trying to make the most of our opportunity.
He's going to make plays. We just got to make a few plays more than him. Got to understand what we're doing, understand how we're rushing, and really all three of these games that we've played in, counting this one coming up with Patrick Mahomes and Bo Nix and Lamar Jackson, all those guys have the ability to take over the game, by themselves, just using their feet. And we just got to know what we're doing up front. That's not being timid and it's not being too aggressive. Just knowing what we're doing, knowing where we're rushing, knowing what we're trying to accomplish, and understanding that he's going to make plays. We just got to make a few more than he does.
We've played each other multiple times now. Initially when we first arrived here, we played in 2017, my first season out there, and then didn't play there was a gap in there of time. And then it seems like, when you have two good teams, two good organizations, that you kind of see each other frequently now. So we have a lot of respect for them.
Welcome back into Buffalo Bills Weekly. It's an AFC Championship matchup under the lights. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, two incredible quarterbacks showcasing what got them to this moment. Buffalo has to go into enemy territory. What are your expectations for this atmosphere?
Well, I think we all know that Arrowhead Stadium is one of the loudest outdoor stadiums in the entire league. The stadium's kind of contoured to rain noise down onto the field. The good news is the Bills have played there 5 times in the last 4 seasons, including 2 playoff games. So I think the majority of Buffalo's roster knows what they're in for. Hopefully that makes life a little bit easier, especially right at the start of the game where that crowd's going to be nuts.
Against the Ravens, the Bills didn't have to rely on Josh Allen's arm to win the game. That's because they found success on the ground, hitting big runs at key moments. It resulted in 3 rushing touchdowns and 147 rushing yards against a Baltimore defense that was allowing just 80 rushing yards per game. Against the Chiefs, it's a different story. You might have to rely on Allen's arm and ability to take over in a game to win this one.
Yeah, and I think we can use the Week 11 matchup with the Chiefs as a frame of reference. You saw the Bills offense run the ball 31 times against them in that game, but Josh also threw it 40 times. So I think the Bills will strive to stay balanced again, but I think we can safely expect Josh to have a bigger role in this one than we saw last week against the Ravens.
Buffalo's offense has made scoring points look easy this season. They've scored at least 30 in 13 games. For Kansas City, they've only done so twice. That means several games have gone down to the final moments. In those final moments, quarterback Patrick Mahomes relies on 2 players, tight end Travis Kelce because of his size and wide receiver Xavier Worthy because of his speed. How does Buffalo have to be ready for these 2?
Well, I think it helps because you can kind of focus your attention there. I don't think that means you ignore everybody else that they have at their skill positions, but you can key on those guys, focus your game plan around those 2 players. I will say the other guy to keep an eye on as a third option in the passing game is Noah Gray, their second tight end. He had 2 touchdown catches in the last meeting with the Bills.
Buffalo's run game is here to stay. Just when most thought that the run game would take a back seat going up against 2 of the 3 best run defense, they became the main driver on offense, relying on their 3 running backs who have great vision and are great decision makers and a solid offensive line. For Kansas City, it's been the opposite. They haven't hit 100 rushing yards in the last 3 games. How could this help the Bills on Sunday?
Yeah, I think what Kansas City is fighting is a little bit of a lack of continuity up front with their offensive line. They've had to move left guard Joe Thuney to left tackle due to protection problems, and I think it's compromised the effectiveness of their run game. Plus, Isaiah Pacheco, recently back from injury, I still don't think he's up to speed yet in terms of where he wants to be. Wasn't that great against the Texans last week. I do expect him to be better this week, but in this game, the Bills' run game has the edge. They can get yards whenever they want.
The ability to run the football late in the season has become a huge part of Buffalo's identity on offense. In the divisional round, Buffalo and Kansas City had similar approaches on defense. They blitzed at the 2nd and 3rd highest rate. Buffalo did so at the 2nd highest, doing it 48% of the time. They had success, but in this matchup against 2 mobile quarterbacks in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, you rethink if you even want to do it. Both quarterbacks know how to beat the blitz. Actually, they know how to kill it. Allen has 16 passing touchdowns against the blitz and a 123 passer rating.
Yeah, and Mahomes is not that far behind either. So the key here is to pick your spots. And look, Buffalo with their front 4 it hasn't been consistent enough with the pass rush, so I do expect them to blitz and try to heat up Patrick Mahomes at the appropriate times in terms of down and distance, where they are on the field. And look, Bobby Babich last week did a good job of mixing in linebacker blitzers and even corner blitzers, and it worked effectively against Lamar Jackson. One of those led to an interception. So I think it's all a matter of when to do it more than how much you do it. And look, Bobby Babich did a good job last week. I expect that to continue this week.
An offensive line in the Chiefs who has had to change a few times this season has definitely been susceptible to allowing Patrick Mahomes to get sacked this year. You can catch the game this Sunday, January 26th on CBS and Paramount+. Chris will be on the radio with the call, so to hear him and Bills legend Eric Wood, you can listen to WGR 550. With a win, the Bills will be heading to the Super Bowl for the first time since the 1993 season. We want to thank you for tuning into Buffalo Bills Weekly. For Chris Brown, I'm Maddy Glab. We'll see you next week.